Yeah, we're back, guys.
For a random chunk of ice tumbling through space. These aren't chaotic gas clouds, these aren't random plumes, these are jets. Six distinct jets radiating from 3I Atlas at specific angles, and every single one of them is firing along that 110-degree axis everyone's been measuring for weeks. And before you think, okay, cool, comets have jets, listen to what Gemini found 4 days earlier. They pointed their spectroscope at this thing and caught it changing color. Not over months, not gradually, changed blue, significantly bluer than before it whipped around the sun, like something stripped away the old surface and exposed fresh material underneath that's now actively venting into space. The chemistry is lighting up their instruments, cyanogen, carbon chains, all the molecules.
Okay, I'll take this back to the beginning.
They found them, 6 of them, shooting out like spokes on a wheel, organized, deliberate, locked to the exact same angle we've been tracking since November. Hubble just processed the data, and what they're seeing shouldn't be possible for a random chunk of ice tumbling through space. These aren't chaotic gas clouds, these aren't random plumes, these are jets. 6 distinct jets radiating from 3I Atlas at specific angles, and every single one of them is firing along that 110-degree axis everyone's been measuring for weeks. And before you think, okay, cool, comets have jets, listen to what Gemini found 4 days earlier. They pointed their spectroscope at this thing and caught it changing color. Not over months, not gradually, changed blue, significantly bluer than before it whipped around the sun, like something stripped away the old surface and exposed fresh material underneath that's now actively venting into space. The chemistry is lighting up their instruments, cyanogen, carbon chains, all the molecules you'd expect from a comet, except the pattern and the organization, none of it fits what we've seen before. Right now, 2 of the most powerful observatories we've got are both staring at the same object going, what is this thing actually doing? Because the more data comes in, the weirder it gets. Let me walk you through what they saw, and I'm telling you what the raw images show versus what's actually happening are 2 completely different stories. November 30th, 2020.
No, I never knew of him up until he interviewed Trump. That's when I juried who he was.
25, Hubble locks on during closest approach. This is the money shot, best resolution we're going to get before this thing leaves the inner solar system. They're using a good camera, sharp optics, 56 kilometers per pixel. That's detailed enough to see real structure if there's structure to see. Images come down and they're gorgeous, bright, completely useless for finding anything interesting. The inner coma is so bright it's washing everything out. Just this brilliant glow, and around it, nothing. Smooth fall off, no features, looks like every comet ever photographed, a fuzzy blob, symmetric, boring. Here's the problem though. That brightness is hiding everything. The nucleus is buried under its own glow. All that gas and dust streaming off creates this haze that obscures the source. It's like trying to see through thick.
Diane, California's going to get hit bad when it gets hit, isn't it? Do you remember the earthquake in 89? I still remember that. Los Angeles freeway collapsed.
Fog, something's there generating the light, but you can't see the actual structure. So they run processing on it. First method strips away the smooth background brightness so sharp features become visible. You're basically turning down the glare in the center so the fainter stuff around it shows up. Second method enhances anything that changes sharply, suppresses anything that's smoothly varying. Perfect for finding jets because jets are narrow, linear, distinct from the diffuse coma. And these methods don't create data, they reveal what's already there but hidden, like adjusting contrast to see faint writing. The writing was always on the page, you just made it visible. The processing runs, first pass, the smooth glow starts breaking up unevenly, brighter regions appearing, fainter regions, asymmetries. Second pass with the enhancement filter, and boom, there they are, lines. Straight lines shooting out from the inner coma. Count them, at least 6 distinct jets, maybe more. Look at how they're arranged though, not random directions, not spraying everywhere. They radiate from a common center. They're narrow, they stay collimated as they extend outward instead of spreading out. They have specific angles you can measure. This is organized. The symmetry is what stops you. Pull back. Look at the whole pattern. The jets appear in pairs, opposite sides of the coma, roughly symmetric across the central axis. Not perfect. Comets are messy, but close enough that it's obvious something's organizing this around a preferred direction. The axis itself, the line, all this symmetry is built around. It's running at approximately 110 degrees position angle. Wait, 110 degrees. Remember Tony from Italy back on December 18th, measuring that same axis, same orientation? The directional bias ground observers tracked for weeks the structure Europa Clipper caught in UV back in November. It's all the same axis. Everything is aligned. Multiple wavelengths, multiple telescopes, multiple dates, all showing the same organization. Comets have jets, sure, that's normal. Active regions heat up, ice turns to gas, jets form. We've seen this on every comet we've studied close up. But this many jets, this organized, maintaining this exact geometry for this long, that's not normal. Because here's what should happen. Comet nuclei spin, usually every few hours or days. As it rotates, different parts face the sun, heat up, become active. Jets turn on, turn off, sweep around as the nucleus spins underneath them. You see them move, change position, create spiral patterns in the coma. 3A Atlas jets aren't doing that. Same orientation, every observation, same pattern, same angles. Either it's rotating incredibly slowly, like weeks or months per rotation, or something else is keeping these active regions locked in position. And whatever that is, it's maintaining paired symmetric jets along a consistent axis for over a month now. You can separate the jets from the main dust tail easily. The tail, that broad, diffuse structure, follows predictable physics. Sunlight pushes dust, creates a tail pointing away from the sun. You can calculate exactly where it should be, and it's there right where expected, along with a faint anti-tail from dust left behind in the orbital path. But the jets aren't following that geometry. They're not aligned with the sun direction. They're rotationally controlled, organized around the spin axis of the object itself. Internal structure driving emission, not external pressure organizing dust. So we've got visual confirmation of 6 jets, geometric analysis showing symmetry, position angles matching previous measurements. But how do you prove this isn't processing artifacts? How do you confirm these are real and not something the algorithms created? You measure, you quantify, turn the visual into numbers. Hubble teams ran a full circular brightness profile around the nucleus. Draw a circle around the central coma, measure brightness at every point. Symmetric coma gives you smooth curves, same brightness all around. Real structure gives you peaks. They plot it, brightness versus angular position. The curve isn't smooth, it's spiked, sharp peaks at specific angles, each one matching a jet location. The peaks are obvious, discrete brightness increases at predictable intervals. This is proof. The jets are real. They're bright enough above background that they show up as distinct features in the measurements. This is how you separate signal from noise. Random fluctuations create noisy curves with small irregular bumps. Processing artifacts might create 1 or 2 features in specific spots related to detector quirks. But 6 distinct peaks, evenly distributed, matching the visual features, that's real structure. That's organized emission from the object. Different processing methods give same results. Different people working independently find same jets. The brightness profile confirms what the images show. You're not debating whether they exist anymore. You're trying to figure out what they mean. Hubble gave us structure, but structure doesn't tell you composition, doesn't tell you what's actually venting off this thing or why it's behaving this way. For that, you need spectroscopy. Split the light by wavelength, see what molecules are emitting, what's actually happening chemically. That's what Gemini did 4 days before Hubble caught those jets. November 26, 2025, Gemini North on Mauna Kea, Hawaii. Big 8.1 meter mirror, premier telescope. They pointed at 3I Atlas and run spectroscopy, not taking pictures, splitting light into component wavelengths, creating a spectrum showing intensity at each color. Immediately something interesting shows up. The coma looks different at different wavelengths. Blue light, it's diffuse, nearly circular, uniform. This is gas. Molecules glowing under UV from sunlight. Smooth distribution because gas expands evenly. Switch to red wavelengths. Morphology changes. Coma becomes concentrated, structured, directionally biased. Teardrop shaped with material extending away from nucleus in one direction. This is dust. Red light shows scattered sunlight off particles, and dust doesn't behave like gas. Dust has
We don't have fracking in Australia. As far as I know, we don't have fracking.
Mass responds to radiation pressure, gets pushed by sunlight. So you're seeing active separation, gas and dust released together, but once in space, they evolve differently. Gas expands freely, creates diffuse blue halo. Dust gets organized by solar radiation, creates structured red distribution. And you can see this clearly, which means strong emission, lots of.
Look at the mathematics of that. An atheist think it just popped into existence. Yeah, look at the mathematics just of that.
Material coming off. This confirms Hubble's observations make physical sense. Jets eject both gas and dust. Close to nucleus, they're narrow and collimated. Extending outward, gas disperses into broader coma, dust gets swept into tail. Inner structure is jets, outer structure is where jets feed into larger scale distribution. Two scales, same source, different physics. But Gemini found something else, something that only became obvious comparing their data to earlier measurements from before perihelion. The color changed. 3i Atlas is bluer now, not slightly, significantly, measurably, confidently bluer. They calculate color index, standard measurement comparing brightness in different filters, G band minus R band, basically green minus red. Result is 0.73 compared to pre-perihelion measurements from July and August. That's a major shift toward blue. The uncertainty is small. This isn't noise. This is real change in the object's color. Think about what color means. Red objects have complex organic molecules, carbon-rich compounds processed by radiation over long times, dark red weathered. Blue objects have fresher material, ices that haven't been exposed long, volatile rich compounds more reflective in blue. The difference between old weathered surface and fresh interior. 3i Atlas spent how long drifting through interstellar space?
Yeah.
Probably millions of years, exposed to cosmic.
It does, doesn't it, Vast? I've seen photos of the backside of the moon, and they're like pods. They're not like square buildings. They're like pods.
Rays, interstellar radiation, occasional dust impacts at speeds high enough to vaporize material. All that creates weathered surface. Radiation breaks down molecules into simpler, darker, redder compounds. Surface gets processed, gets old. Then it enters inner solar system, approaches the sun. Perihelion happens, closest approach, maximum heating. And that heating does something interstellar radiation couldn't. It removes the weathered layer. Solar heat sublimates surface ice. Gas jets carry away dust. Outer layers get stripped. Meters of material could erode in a single closed pass. Underneath that weathered exterior is fresh material that hasn't been exposed. Volatile rich ice is still pristine, still blue, still active. That's what happened before perihelion. It looked red, old surface weathered over millions of years. Perihelion acts like sandblasting, solar radiation heats surface, ice sublimates explosively, thermal stress fractures structure, chunks break off, jets carry away loose material, old surface stripped, fresh interior exposed. Fresh material is blue. This explains the brightness spike at closest approach we covered before. Not just closer, so appears brighter, though that factors in. Surface renewed. Albedo increased. Reflectivity went up because dark weathered crust got removed in compounds that want to sublimate, which means it's active, creating those jets. Hubble detected. Jets aren't from old weathered surface. They're from fresh exposed regions where volatile ices sublimate rapidly under solar heating. Surface renewal feeds activity. Activity maintains jets. Jets organize a stable pattern. So you've got a model connecting observations. Interstellar object arrives with red weathered surface. Solar heating strips surface near perihelion. Fresh blue material exposed. Volatile ice sublimates from active regions. Jets form, organize around rotation axis. Coma develops with gas dust separation. Color shifts blue. Albedo increases. Brightness spikes. Everything fits, but we need chemistry. Knowing surface changed color tells you something happened, doesn't confirm what molecules are involved. For that, you need spectral lines, emission features at specific wavelengths, uniquely identifying chemical species. Gemini spectroscopic data shows clear emission lines, not continuum, not just reflected sunlight, emission light emitted by excited molecules in the coma. 3 species confirm cyanogen CN, diatomic carbon C2, triatomic carbon C3, all carbon-based, all common in comets, all products of organic material being broken down and sublimated.
I remember Escape from New York. Didn't he surf out of New York on a surfboard?
Under heating. CN is particularly
I like the actor's name. He was good in Tombstone. What's his name again?
useful as tracer, created when complex carbon-nitrogen compounds break apart parent molecules in nucleus. Things like HCN or other organics sublimate and get dissociated by solar UV. Fragments include CN radicals glowing at specific wavelengths. You detect CN, you know there's carbon-nitrogen chemistry. You know nucleus contains organic
Kurt
material.
Russell, yeah.
C2 and C3 are pure.
He was good in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as well. Yeah, I like Kurt Russell.
Carbon chains
He was great in Tombstone.
come from even more.
I read Wyatt Earp's biography, and the movie Tombstone was pretty close to what happened.
Complex carbon compounds breaking into simpler fragments. They fluoresce green under UV, which is why comets often look green. That classic green color isn't exotic elements, just carbon chains glowing. Strength of emission tells you how much carbon-rich material is sublimating. 3 iodlysis shows strong C2 and C3 emission, lots of carbon coming off compared to solar system comets. CN, C2,
I haven't
C3,
seen that.
these are standard molecules.
Vast.
Every comet shows these. Halley's, Hale-Bopp, Hyakutake all had strong carbon chemistry. So composition-wise, 3I Atlas isn't exotic, not weird interstellar material we've never seen. It's ice and organics, same as solar system comets. Interstellar space and solar system formation produce similar basic chemistry, at least for comets, but behavior is unusual. Organized jet, stable rotation, persistent directional structure. These aren't standard traits, even though chemistry is standard. So it's not made of something different. Something about structure or rotation or activity pattern is different. Same materials, different organization. The green color connection ties everything together. Ground observers in December reported green coloration in outer coma. We mentioned this before, color evolution from blue to green to gold. The green phase, that's C2 and CN emission. Gemini confirmed the molecules responsible. When amateurs were imaging and seeing green, they were seeing carbon chemistry, real molecular emission, and timing matters. Gemini observed November 26. Ground observers confirmed directional structure around December 17, 3 weeks apart. The chemistry Gemini detected was already there, already active, already producing emissions that would create visible structure. Ground telescopes later resolved. Molecular emission feeds coma. Coma develops structure. Structure persists because emission source, those active regions creating jets, stays organized. Stack observations chronologically and watch the picture develop. July 2025, discovery during gamma ray burst event. Object appears faint in red. November 6, Europa Clipper UV detects directional structure. First hint of asymmetry. November 26, Gemini confirms chemistry and color change. Surface has renewed, emission strong. November 30, Hubble resolves jet structure. 6 organized jets from common center. December 17, 19, ground observers independently confirm 110-degree axis, structure stable and persistent. Every observation adds a piece. Every piece fits. You're building coherent model where interstellar object with weathered surface approaches sun, gets stripped by heating, exposes fresh volatile material, active regions create jets, jets organize around rotation axis, chemistry confirms carbon emission, structure persists across weeks. What we know for certain, organized jet activity confirmed by Hubble, at least 6 distinct jets in paired symmetric pattern, rotation axis orientation approximately 110 degrees, consistent across multiple independent measurements. Post-perihelion surface renewal confirmed by color change toward blue, indicates fresh material exposure. Active chemistry confirmed by Gemini, CN, C2, C3 emissions, strong carbon-based outgassing. Gas dust separation confirmed by wavelength-dependent morphology. Blue shows gas, red shows dust. Different distributions indicate active separation. What's still not fully explained, why is rotation so stable? Most comets show rotation changes as asymmetric. Outgassing creates torque. 3I Atlas isn't showing obvious spin up or spin down. Jets maintain same orientation over weeks. Either rotation period very long or something about structure resist.
Andrew, me and Gabe go and look at the neighbourhood Christmas Eve to see the Christmas lights up. And tonight, last Christmas Eve, let's say there was 100 houses. There's not that many, but let's say for argument's sake, last year 100 houses were showing Christmas decorations in the yard. This year it was like 30 because people can't afford the electricity bill. You put up a big Santa display here and it'll cost you not hundreds, but probably 10,000 in electricity over Christmas. And they do it all voluntarily. But this year it didn't have as many Christmas lights as usual. It's a bit of a downer.
Torque. Why don't jets sweep around more obviously? If nucleus rotating with periods of hours or days, jets should visibly change position as active regions rotate into and out of sunlight. We're not seeing that variation. Jets appear stable. Why such high albedo after perihelion? Fresh ice is reflective, but maintaining 80% albedo reported earlier is exceptional.
I think he's presenting a good case here. We don't know where he's going to go with it. But so far he's outlaying what they got on Atlas. And I think he's doing okay.
Fresh snow levels. Most comets much darker even right after perihelion. What's keeping surface this bright? Why this specific geometry? 6 jets in symmetric pairs around one 10-degree axis that's organized. Comet nuclei are irregular chunks, not precision objects. Getting this symmetry from random surface features and natural outgassing is possible but unusual. These questions aren't showstoppers. They're next level investigation. You've confirmed basic structure, chemistry, activity pattern. Now you refine model, explain details, figure out what makes this particular object behave this way when most comets show more chaotic activity. And while this develops with 3i Atlas, other things happening because universe doesn't pause. Maven, NASA's Mars atmosphere monitoring spacecraft, lost contact December 6th. Communication.
Andrew, the Muslims have done their dashi with them 14 Jews, or 15, wasn't there? They've done their dashi. They've done some major crimes since the year 2000, and now they're going to be stood up to.
Failure during Mars solar conjunction.
We already stood up to them, but I mean now's the comeuppance.
Earth and Mars on opposite sides of Sun. Sun's radio interference makes communication difficult. Recovery efforts ongoing. Ground teams trying to reestablish contact. Attempts expected after January 16th, 2026.
It is, Diane. And some of the houses, they completely cover their house with Christmas, like the sleigh and all that. They got blow-up Santas run by air out in the yard. It's a lot of work, let alone the electricity bills.
That's conjunction. And
I tell you what, I'm too old to do that. Even in my best days, I wouldn't do that.
Ends. Maven matters because it's been monitoring Mars' upper atmosphere for years.
Yeah.
Tracking how solar wind strips atmospheric particle.
Andrew, come on YouTube somewhere that the Muslims were crashing your nativity scenes. They were going and wrecking them. I don't know if it was England. I think it was, though.
Measuring seasonal variations, providing data on how Mars lost thick atmosphere over geological time. Communication gap means missing data. Not catastrophic, spacecraft probably fine, just out of touch temporarily. Reminder that deep space operations are fragile. One miscommand, one orientation error, one hardware failure, and you lose contact with something hundreds of millions of kilometers away.
Yeah, Diane's right, Andrew. The whole world's in danger at the moment.
December.
And it's a clash of civilization, east versus west.
December 24th, observers in Manorville, New York, caught Titan transiting Saturn's disk. Titan, Saturn's largest moon, bigger than Mercury, only moon in solar system with thick atmosphere. Occasionally, from Earth's perspective, it passes directly in front of Saturn. These alignments happen roughly every 15 years because of viewing geometry required. Need Earth, Saturn, and Titan lined up just right. Scientifically valuable because transits let you do comparative measurements, measure Titan's atmospheric properties against Saturn's reflected light, track how atmosphere absorbs specific wavelengths, compare to earlier transit data and see if anything changed, Cassini gave incredible close-up data during its 13-year mission, but Cassini ended 2017. Any new observations from Earth help fill gap until next Saturn mission. These brief updates remind you we're in busy periods. Solar maximum, multiple active regions on Sun, coronal mass ejections affecting Earth's magnetosphere, Mars operations hampered by conjunctions, Saturn system visible for rare observations, and 3I Atlas still out there, still active, still moving through inner solar system with organized jet activity that doesn't fully fit standard models. Back to 3/8 Atlas, because Hubble and Gemini data create a complete enough picture that you can synthesize everything. Start with object itself. Interstellar third confirmed after Oumuamua and Borisov arrived from direction of Sagittarius, same region as that record gamma ray burst in July. Approach Sun on hyperbolic trajectory, not bound to solar system, just passing through. Closest approach to Earth late November into early December 2025, coinciding with these detailed observations. Surface composition before perihelion, red, weathered, processed by millions of years interstellar radiation. After perihelion, blue, fresh, stripped by solar heating, renewed by exposure of interior. Albedo.
Guys, that's sad what's happened in the UK, because I can't see, I've said this every time this gets spoken, but I can't help but say it again. I can't see how you can turn it around with all the Maya Muslims, all the coppers too scared to stand up to the Muslims. There's so many of them. If they quickly organise in a town centre for a protest, there'd be a lot more than, say, white supremacist meeting or national Englishmen meeting them. But they are, I think it's gone. I don't know how bad Scotland and Wales is, but I think the UK's got, England's gone.
Increased, brightness spiked, activity ramped up, chemistry active, cyanogen, diatomic carbon, triatomic carbon, all detected in emission, carbon-based organic material sublimating from nucleus under heating, physical structure, compact nucleus, few kilometers across, buried under brilliant inner coma.
I think your trouble started with Tony Blair, didn't they? That's when it started going haywire for you guys.
Elongated along 110-degree position angle, organized structure maintained over weeks, outer coma extending hundreds of thousands of kilometers, shows gas dust separation at different wavelengths, green coloration from C2 and CN.
They're taking over Canada, some parts of Canada as well.
At least
we got a couple of suburbs, not roped up, but we put a couple, the Muslim refugees that do get here, we put them in a number of suburbs. There's probably about 5 suburbs in Sydney southwest that the Muslims live in. We can go anywhere in the city. There's no go area.
6 distinct.
Because our coppers don't like the Muslims. I don't know why your coppers do, Andrew, but our coppers don't like them.
Jets radiating from inner coma, collimated, organized in paired symmetric pattern around rotation axis. Rotation, stable orientation over observation period, November into December.
That's my Wizard of Oz code, Wicked Witch of the East. That's Bow. Islam, Middle East. Bow.
Obvious precession.
Bow's the god of Islam.
No significant changes in jet position angles, either very slow rotation or structural mechanisms stabilizing orientation, despite asymmetric outgassing that should create torque. Trajectory continuing outbound from perihelion, receding from Earth, heading toward outer solar system. Next major milestone, Jupiter encounter, March 20. Current velocity and trajectory set up for potential gravity assist if no corrections occur, or for deliberate maneuvering if something about this object is controlled. Everything from spectroscopy to imaging to ground observations to space UV converges on consistent picture. Interstellar objects showing comet-like chemistry and activity, but with organizational features more stable and geometric than typical comets. Chemistry normal, behavior unusual. That combination keeps this interesting. Think about how much learned in 6 months or so. July discovery, mostly astrometry and basic brightness. September, October, gradually approaching, brightness increasing predictably. November, perihelion passage, color change detected, UV structure observed, chemistry confirmed. December, ground observations reveal stable directional feature, Hubble resolves jets, full geometric and spectroscopic characterization achieved. Each observation refined model. Early on, questions broad. What is this? Where from? Is it dangerous? got answered quickly, not dangerous. Interstellar origin confirmed, trajectory calculated. Next level, what's it made of? Why bright? What's causing activity? Chemistry answered, composition. Color change explained, brightness. Surface renewal tied to perihelion. Current questions more specific. Why 6 jets in this geometry? Why stable rotation? What mechanisms maintain organization? How does this compare to other interstellar objects we might detect? These are refinement questions, not questioning basic nature anymore, trying to understand behavioral details. Those details matter because every interstellar object teaches us about conditions in other star systems. 3I Atlas formed somewhere else, different protoplanetary disk, different star, different chemistry available during formation. Fact that composition matches solar system comets suggests carbon-based chemistry is common. Ices, organics, rocky materials seem to be universal building blocks regardless of which star system you're orbiting.
Andrew, Bobo, I think King Charles is the Antichrist, and the link I just sent you, he goes right into it. Look what they've done to Andrew, Prince Andrew. If the world knew what Charles done with Jimmy Savile, there'd be no royal family. He knighted the worst pedo in England's history.
But structural differences tell you about formation, environment, and ejection mechanisms. How did 3I Atlas get kicked out of home system? Gravitational interaction with planet, close encounter with another star.
Andrew, none of us got the vax. Not by the star. We had a meeting and decided not to. Individually, we didn't take the vax at all. One of us did, and she really regrets it. But everyone else who hangs here, they didn't take the vax.
Supernova shockwave. Each mechanism.
Phil, did you take the vax? Phil. Phil, did you take the vax?
Would impart different velocities, different rotation states, different thermal histories. Stable rotation we're seeing could be clue to ejection dynamics, maybe got spun down by interaction, maybe formed with low angular momentum, maybe collisions in original system, damped spin. Yeah. We don't have enough data to choose between scenarios. But point is, each...
And Diane, what about when they were talking about you need a third booster? If it didn't work the first time, how's it going to work the second? And you got no hope of the third time. They just conned everyone and murdered them.
Interstellar object carries information about origin. We've only detected 3 confirmed interstellar objects total. Oumuamua, weird shape, weird acceleration, gone before full characterization. Borisov looked normal, acted normal, gave baseline for typical interstellar comets. 3I Atlas, normal chemistry, unusual organization, teaching us even objects with familiar composition can show unexpected behaviors. Sample size tiny, 3 objects isn't enough to generalize, but it's start. As detection improves, telescopes get more sensitive, observation campaigns get coordinated, we'll find more. Next decade could give dozens of interstellar objects, build statistics, see what's common, what's rare. 3I Atlas might end up typical for certain class or genuinely unusual, even among interstellar visitors. March 2026, next critical test, Jupiter encounter, trajectory calculated. If purely gravitational, path predictable. Jupiter's massive gravity will bend trajectory, add velocity, fling 3I Atlas back toward interstellar space faster than it came. Standard gravity assist happens to every object passing through Jupiter's influence. But if there's another course correction, another deviation from predicted trajectory like we saw near Earth.
Okay, so no answers there really, let's be honest. Okay, I found something else to finish off on, guys.
This is going to be probably the most shocking message I think I've probably delivered in a long time. You're going to probably seeing this over on Patreon, and this is disturbing to say the least. I'm actually working right now, going back into a study that I did on Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. And while I was working on that, this was something that just kind of hit, because we're dealing with Revelation chapter 12. As I put all this together. And as I'm reading, let me take you to Revelation 12 instead first here. I'm reading in Revelation 12, right? And it says here, and there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the acute.
Yeah, Vars, we haven't done him for a while, have we? We used to finish off with him. Oh, that's right. Then when, oh yeah, I know why we left him.
Accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. Okay, this is fascinating, right? When Christ ascended, and one of the ancient texts that I've read before, it actually speaks about the apostles. They constantly, even after Christ's death, they were still wanting to be with him. They wanted to commune with him. And they talk about in one place something about seeing or hearing the wars that were happening in heaven. That's the best I remember. I don't remember the details now. But at any rate, immediately I began to think of that. And then I'm sitting here looking at this, and I realized that verse 10 clearly, in the power of his Christ, Jesus Christ just went up into the heavens and threw the devil and all of his angels out. He had conquered death, hell, and the grave. And Satan has been cast out to earth, right? Now, most people think, not a big deal, right? Okay, well, it is a big deal. And they overcame him, and the accuser was cast down, which accused them before God day and night. Now, how does Satan accuse the people before God day and night, like in the story of Job? Remember how Satan goes up to God? Or, God says to him, have you ever considered my servant Job? He says, where have you been? Satan says to him,
No, we contacted them by email last night, so they got all our info. We probably won't be able to get it today, but we'll get it as soon as we can. We're just waiting on her.
Look at it tomorrow.
Is that what they said?
Yeah.
Oh, we go and have a look at it tomorrow, guys. Yeah.
Tomorrow morning.
Yeah. There you go, guys. We're getting him tomorrow morning.
The earth there, just moving about like a spirit would. And
Cat, you made the thing go all wobbly.
Where the scripture says he's always accusing of the brethren, right? So we know that Satan, what is he doing? He's accusing them based on the law. Whatever, they did not keep your law. Boom, you need to do this to them, or you need to do that. Whatever the case may be. I don't know the arguments that they have. I just know that we know that there is a truth to that. He is the accuser of the brethren. Not that he's a brethren, just he accuses the children of God. So he says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Right? That's how we overcome Satan. But see, the point is now they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. Why? Because Satan's already cast down to earth along with his angels. Now the question is it spirits that now are?
She tipped me off about them. They're not robots, they're real dogs. When you watch that ad, you'll see them focus on the dog box, and you'll see something move in it, and just as it blurs, he picks a real dog out of the box. It's pretty bad sleight of hand, but I would have got one of them if you didn't tell me about that.
Bodying human beings. I mean, think about it, right? Jesus comes to the maniac of Gadarene. He's possessed with so many.
Hey, Shawnee, good to see you.
Funny. And when the demon speaks back, says, "We are legion." Like a legion, 1,000 devils were in the guy. And when Jesus,
robot puppies are done. I knew it. Thanks, boss.
Well, keep in mind, the guy was naked. He was in this cemetery, hanging out in the cemetery. When he cast out the demons from the man, we read later the man was clothed in his right mind. So if you run around naked, it shows you're not in the right mind. Different story. We'll leave that one alone for now. But the point is, the demons asked Jesus, suffer us to go into the swine, the pigs. The pigs had enough sense to run down the hill and choke themselves in the Sea of Galilee. They were not going to tolerate having devils all inside of them. My point is,
Yeah, Shawnee, we're getting a terrier cross schnitzel tomorrow, and I'm going to call him Busby. That's his name.
Demons have always been on the earth causing problems, but now it's like we got the worst of the worst.
Andrew, the house has been really quiet since Moo Moo passed. And the cat's really lonely. So, and Gabe's really upset because Moo Moo was her dog. So it's been really quiet here. That's why we're looking for another dog. I'm not getting the cat again. They go missing.
Demons on the earth. That's becoming more evident in what we're seeing in the Middle East. I mean, think about it, right? Think about how evil is. A people being totally exterminated. And because of where I'm posting this at, I'm going to be cautious with my words, but nobody does anything about it. Nobody cares. The world has remained silent.
Bobo, you're right. Terriers bark heaps, don't they? Oh, we'll put up with it.
You could even go into Europe and see the same thing happening. People being exterminated on both sides, mind you. And nobody cares. Just let them go ahead and do it. All right. Now, this gets worse. Worse. We read that. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea. Wow. Not only is it a problem for the people dwelling on the earth, but those that are in the sea.
Vaz, I wish I had Moo Moo to pick up now.
That brings up some interesting questions. For the devil has come down to you, having a great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Guys, he was cast out when Jesus went up. It ain't like they're going to do it here and it's only be a 3.5 year tribulation. The devil's been on this earth ever since. That's why all the bloodshed that has happened on the earth for the last 2,000 years. And it's about to get worse because he knows his time is wrapping up, right? And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. He persecuted the woman. Do you know that also represents the believers?
Andrew, I did have a parrot, and he used to sit on my shoulder, and if I was drinking beer, he'd walk down my arm and drink the beer, and I'd let him drink it. Then he'd get drunk as a skunk and start screaming nonstop, rat, rat, rat. And so what I'd done, I rang my cousin up and said, do you want a cocky? She goes, yeah. I said, here you go, have this one. So she comes and gets the cocky. And then about 2 weeks later, she goes, you bastard, that cocky wouldn't shut up. And when she said that, I started laughing my head off. I don't know what happened to it now, but that's the only time I owned a parrot.
Why do I say that? Mary believed God and Christ was able to form in her womb. You as the church, as the bride, a bride of Christ, when you believe God, he forms within you, within your heart. You become one with Christ Jesus. You become the woman. Now, Jude. What did Jude say? The servant of Jesus Christ, brother of James, to them that are sanctified by God the Father and preserved in Jesus Christ and called, mercy unto you, peace and love be multiplied. Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you and exhort you that you should earnestly contend for the faith which was once delivered unto the saints.
Bobo, look on YouTube, Turkey Boy. It's this old farmer, and he brings up a clutch of turkeys, and they take to him like their mother, and he learns their language, and by the time it all ended, he knew 29 phrases what turkeys would speak to each other. And here's something interesting. He'd go for walks in the bush with them, and there was a tree stump where all the turkeys were surrounding the tree stump like they were sad it died. Bit weird.
Isn't that interesting? there's already a falling away. Jude, you know how the scripture says, first cometh the falling away before that.
Yeah, we had, as you know, we had to put Molly down. We took a ink print of her nose and her front paws. We're going to put them in a picture frame and hang them up.
For the man of sin to be revealed, right? Already a falling away was going on because they had gone away from that original faith that was once delivered unto the saints. He was already warning them, for there are certain men crept in unaware who were before of old ordained to this condemnation. How can you be before condemned to condemnation?
Well, this made today.
And yet there are men that crept in unaware. Now, I agree, it's probably people that were born, but my question is it the spirit of those angels that just got cast out of heaven that have entered into these men?
So I'm just going to find something. And then
In other words, it's like a possession, a demonic possession is what we're talking about here, right? Turning the grace of our God into lasciviousness and denying the only Lord God and our Lord Jesus Christ. Is that not exactly what we see that just happened as they brought over these 1,000 ministers to Israel? 1,000 of them went to Israel. They called them, as Mike Evans.
Andrew, we used to tease the magpies to make them dive bombers. Same as wasp nests. I don't know what we were thinking. We'd go up and tease the wasp nest and run and get stung. That was a boys' game when I was a kid. Stir up the wasp nest and get away. Stupid boys.
Says ambassadors. Mike Huckabee wants them to bless Israel because God said, whoever blesses Israel, God will bless those that bless Israel and curse those that curse Israel. Just like Ted Cruz here in Texas. None of them know their Bible. That's very evident, right? Because it doesn't say that in the Bible. It says to Abram, whoever blesses you, I will bless. Whoever curses you, I will curse. Pharaoh and also the king there. His name was right on the tip of my tongue, and it went right past my mind there. But anyway, the two kings that took his wife. That's where that happens at. And yes, I am on edge because of this. I really am, because my heart, my mind is just racing. I've been working on Substack. I've been writing the book, because my desire in my heart is to wake people up. Just like the maniac of Gadarene, he had a legion of demons in him, right? But they were able to be cast out. Do I not think that there could not be help for someone like Netanyahu?
I also had a pet rat once, and he'd do the same thing as a cocky. He'd go down to my glass and drink out of the glass. He loved scotch. The rat would love scotch.
Oh, or Ben Javir or Smotrich.
But he didn't yell and carry on like the parrot. That's why I kept him.
Any of them? Sure I do. But if you don't cast out those evil spirits, and there's got to be something within them that is desiring, wanting, and longing for that freedom. Maybe they think in their minds that they're doing God a service, because the Bible does say the time they will think that they do God service by killing you.
Yeah, they are. Yep.
Is that not where we are today? He says here, I will therefore put you in remembrance. Though you once knew this, how that the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them that believe not. He's letting you know when you disbelieve, it will bring the end to you, because it's faith. Just like he said, I did this message not long ago, and I was talking about where Ephraim and the king of Aram, Syria, they came down and they were going to overthrow the worst king that Judah had ever had. They're coming down there to overthrow him with a war, and God says, only by faith.
Nice. I like both them actors.
It's established by faith. I'll establish it. And then he prophesies of Jesus Christ. Let's stay on track here. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but
Bobo, I used to hate Skippy. I'd get up for school, you know, you'd watch the cartoons or have breakfast. They'd have Skippy on. And Skippy was bodgy, you know. It was just a kangaroo hopping.
Left their own habitation,
They could do trigonometry.
yet reserved in everlasting chains under darkness, under the judgment of the great day. According to Enoch, we have 200 of them. So it wasn't all the angels. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah, the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication, going after strange flesh. That's not, get this out of your head, that's like a man going to another man or a woman going to another woman. It's not. That's not what it is. That's not what it means in the context of the Greek language here. The strange flesh is a being that is not fully human. Does that make sense? There was a minister one time, I saw this, and then this other minister, just so happened to find, he'd been teaching this long before I had. I wish I could remember what his name was. Maybe somebody knows who I'm talking about. Amazing, amazing man of God that had actually picked this up and recognized the strange flesh as nothing to do with homosexuality. Okay? It's just not. All right? So, you know, I don't condone that type of lifestyle, but I'm just saying that's not what it is. Or set forth as an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Whoa. Remember how the angel came down to Abram? There were three. One stayed with Abram, the other two go down to Sodom. Likewise, also these filthy dreamers, the word filthy is not in there, these dreamers defile the flesh, despise dominion, speak evil of dignities. Yet Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses. Durst not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, the Lord rebuke thee. Why? Because Satan's always accusing the brethren, right?
And that's why people think Moses could be one of the two witnesses, because his body, they never got his body. Something like that they use.
My point is, these men that crept in unaware were before of old ordained to this condemnation. They were ungodly men, turning the grace of our God into lasciviousness. You cannot take a man that's crept into the church and say that before of old he was ordained to this condemnation. That's like saying before he was ever born, he was ordained to condemnation. It makes me believe that it's the spirit, that evil spirit that has overtaken him. Because granted, it's not like the angels that were thrown out of heaven and the devil that's thrown out of heaven suddenly have to wait and be born into a human body and grow up and become children. No, because this Judas here, they crept in unaware. It was right after the death of Jesus Christ. Now, I don't know. It could be 10, it could be 20 years, could be 30 years. Maybe you could have had somebody that grew up or something like that. I'm not saying that it couldn't be. But my point is, they're clearly of old ordained to this condemnation. Ungodly men. He likens them to the angels that kept not their first estate. So clearly the angels have come down, and somehow because of their unbelief, they have taken on an evil spirit. And that's what happens. When you disbelieve God's word, you will take on an evil spirit.
Yep.
There's no way around it. Let's continue on. Let's look at some of these other ones as well. All right, let's go back now. Let's take a look at John, 1 John chapter 2. Little children, it is the last time, as you have heard, that Antichrist shall come. He writes this as a future tense, right? And
Diane's going to listen to some peaceful Paul Begley while she does soft asleep.
I really kind of, when I did Matthew 23, because Jesus says in the Hebrew Matthew that the abomination maketh desolate, standing in the holy place. Let me just quickly show that to you before I come back here to John. I think that's important to do.
Good night, Andrew. Love you guys.
Is it 23 or 22? Maybe it's chapter 22 where that happens. Let me find it. Oh, let me see. Hang on. Let's see. you know what? I think it's, no, I know where it's at. It's actually Matthew 24. I don't even have to do that now. Now I remember now. Hang on. Let me get back over here to the Hebrew one there. I am glad though that I was in 23 because I do want to come back to this in a moment here, or 20, was it 22 or 23 actually? I do want to come back to 23 verse 15 as well. All right, because that's very important to you. We cannot miss that. Here we go, 15. All right, Jesus says here, this is the Antichrist, the abomination which desolates, which was spoken by Daniel as standing in the holy place. Let the one who reads understand. Okay, now in the Greek Matthew, we don't get the part about the Antichrist, Antichristos. And I've read it in the Hebrew as well to be sure. And I'll just show you, he actually uses that Greek terminology. Remember, they spoke in the Greek language, Ze Antichristos. Ve Zahu